Welcome to Archivist Animates. Today, we're delving deep into one of the most significant yet often overlooked financial crises in American history, the Panic of 1873. This event, known as the Long Depression, had far-reaching impacts on the economy, politics, and society of the 19th century United States. Join us as we explore the intricate details, key players, and lasting repercussions of this pivotal period in history. Chapter 1: Prelude to Panic. In the years following the Civil War, America experienced an era of rapid industrialization and economic expansion known as the Gilded Age. This period saw tremendous growth in the railroad industry, which became the backbone of the American economy. Between 1866 and 1873, the railroad network expanded dramatically, fueled by speculative investments and generous government subsidies. Railroads connected distant markets, spurred the growth of cities, and facilitated westward expansion. However, the growth of the railroads was not without its pitfalls. The industry was marked by overexpansion and reckless speculation. Investors, eager to capitalize on the booming market, poured money into railroad companies without thoroughly assessing the profitability of these ventures. This led to the construction of railroads in areas that lacked sufficient economic activity to justify the investment. Banks played a crucial role in financing the railroad boom. They provided the necessary capital through the sale of bonds and issuance of loans. Jay Cooke Company, one of the most prominent banking firms of the time, was heavily involved in financing the Northern Pacific Railway. The firm's aggressive marketing strategies and extensive network of agents helped it raise vast sums of money from both American and European investors. Chapter 2: The Spark of the Panic. The immediate trigger for the Panic of 1873 was the collapse of Jay Cooke Company. On September 18, 1873, the firm declared bankruptcy after failing to sell enough Northern Pacific bonds to cover its obligations. The news of Jay Cooke's failure sent shockwaves through the financial system, leading to a massive sell-off on the New York Stock Exchange. Trading was suspended for 10 days as stock prices plummeted, and the panic quickly spread to other financial markets, both in the United States and Europe. The collapse of Jay Cooke Company was just the beginning. As confidence in the banking system eroded, numerous banks and financial institutions across the country failed. Depositors rushed to withdraw their savings, leading to a severe liquidity crisis. By the end of 1873, more than 100 banks had closed their doors, and countless businesses were forced into bankruptcy. Chapter 3: The Spread of the Panic. The panic had a devastating impact on American industry. Railroad construction came to a halt, and many ongoing projects were abandoned. The iron and steel industries, which were heavily dependent on railroad orders, suffered significant declines in production. Factories closed, and unemployment soared. The economic downturn spread to other sectors, including agriculture, manufacturing, and mining. The Panic of 1873 also had severe consequences for American farmers. Falling crop prices and rising debt burdens led to widespread foreclosures and farm bankruptcies. Many farmers who had borrowed heavily to expand their operations during the boom years found themselves unable to meet their financial obligations. The agricultural crisis deepened as banks tightened credit and reduced lending. Chapter 4: The Political Response. In response to the economic crisis, the federal government took several measures to stabilize the financial system. President Ulysses S. Grant, initially hesitant to intervene, eventually authorized the release of $26 million in greenbacks to increase the money supply and provide relief to the banking sector. However, these efforts had limited success in reversing the economic downturn. One of the most controversial measures during this period was the Coinage Act of 1873, which effectively ended the minting of silver dollars and placed the United States on the gold standard. The act was intended to stabilize the currency and restore confidence in the financial system. However, it sparked fierce opposition from farmers and debtors, who believed that the demonetization of silver had worsened the economic depression by reducing the money supply. Chapter 5: Social and Cultural Impact. The economic hardships of the Panic of 1873 led to widespread social unrest. Unemployment and poverty levels soared, particularly in urban areas. Strikes and labor protests became more common as workers demanded better wages and working conditions. The Great Railroad Strike of 1877, which began as a response to wage cuts, quickly spread across the country and highlighted the growing tensions between labor and capital. The economic discontent of the 1870s laid the groundwork for the rise of the populist movement in the 1890s. Farmers and laborers, frustrated by their economic plight and the perceived indifference of the political establishment, began to organize and demand reforms. The Populist Party advocated for a range of measures, including the free coinage of silver, regulation of railroads, and progressive income taxes. Chapter 6: The Global Context. The Panic of 1873 was not confined to the United States, it had significant international repercussions. European markets, particularly in Germany and Austria, were deeply affected by the crisis. The collapse of the Vienna Stock Exchange in May 1873 marked the beginning of a severe economic downturn in Europe. The global nature of the crisis underscored the interconnectedness of the 19th century world economy. Chapter 7: Long-term consequences. The economic downturn triggered by the Panic of 1873 lasted for over 2 decades and is often referred to as the Long Depression. Although the United States experienced periods of recovery, the overall economic environment remained challenging. High unemployment, deflation, and slow industrial growth characterized much of this period. The Panic of 1873 highlighted the vulnerabilities of an economy heavily dependent on speculative investments and rapid expansion. It underscored the need for better regulation of financial markets and more prudent investment practices. The crisis also spurred debates about monetary policy and the role of government in stabilizing the economy, debates that continue to resonate in modern economic discussions. Chapter 8: Personal Stories. The Panic of 1873 had a profound impact on the lives of ordinary Americans. Families lost their homes, businesses failed, and communities were devastated. Personal stories from this period provide a poignant reminder of the human cost of economic crises. Letters, diaries, and newspaper accounts offer glimpses into the struggles and resilience of people facing economic hardship. Several key figures played pivotal roles during the Panic of 1873. Jay Cooke, whose firm's collapse triggered the panic, is often vilified for his role in the crisis. However, his story is also one of ambition and innovation. Other notable figures include President Ulysses S. Grant, who grappled with the political and economic fallout of the crisis, and William Jennings Bryan, whose advocacy for silver coinage became a rallying cry for the populist movement. Chapter 9: Cultural Reflections. The Panic of 1873 left an indelible mark on American culture. It inspired a wealth of literature and art that reflected the anxieties and aspirations of the time. Authors such as Mark Twain and Henry James explored themes of economic uncertainty and social change in their works. Artists depicted the stark realities of urban poverty and rural distress, capturing the human dimensions of the economic crisis. Music also played a role in capturing the spirit of the era. Folk songs and ballads conveyed the struggles of farmers and laborers, while vaudeville shows and popular entertainment provided an escape from the harsh realities of daily life. The cultural responses to the Panic of 1873 reveal the resilience and creativity of people facing adversity. Conclusion: The Panic of 1873 was a transformative period in American history. It exposed the vulnerabilities of an economy built on speculative investments and rapid expansion. The crisis had far-reaching impacts on the financial system, political landscape, and social fabric of the nation. By examining this pivotal event, we gain a deeper understanding of the forces that have shaped the United States and the enduring lessons of economic resilience and adaptation. Thank you for joining us on this journey through time with Archivist Animates. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more in-depth explorations of history. Until next time, stay curious.